Okay, so we're continuing with the next halacha, which is Matnos Zayin Ches. But just to refresh our memory, Zayin talked about the ani hamachazar al pesachim. So that presumably is a guy who is going from door to door within a town. Okay, and for that guy, we say Einis kakan lo matana meruba, well nos lo matana muetas. You don't have to give him a lot, just give him a little. Okay, so then today's halacha is ches. That's a different category. Ein pokusin la'ani ha'over mimakom lamakom mikikar echad hanimkar bepudyon. Okay, so break this down here. Okay, so here we're talking about a guy who's over mimakom lamakom, and then the Makbili says benigud la'ani hagar b'makom masuyim, as opposed to an ani who like dwells in one place. So this is like a guy who is, I guess he doesn't even have a permanent home. He's just traveling from town to town. Okay, so what do we do? What did we just say? Ein pokusin la'ani mikikar echad hanimkar bepudyon kishahayu hachitim arba sein besela. It's a really complicated shiur. Okay, so you can't give him less than a loaf that is sold bepudyon, which we have to read what that even means. Fun Aramaic word. Okay, it sounds kind of like pudding or funyun mixed together. When wheat is sold at arba sein for a sela. Okay, so what does this mean? Let's just look at the makbili, not finished reading halacha. Okay. Ein pokusin mikikar echad hanimkar bepudyon. Nosim lo lepachos kikar lechem achas hanimkar bepudyon kish arba sein chita Shabbos sela. Okay, so what does this mean? Kikar lechem shenifcha nafcha mi 300. I had to look this one up in the Kit 300. Yeah, we had to like this. Look this one up here. It's centimeter meukab. Cubic centimeters, okay, 300 cc's of himaha shtesuras, and that's the important point. Is that it's basically the equivalent of 2 meals. Okay, so you can't give him less than like 2 meals. And then he clarifies the shiurim, which we're going to cheat in a little while. Hasela who chavdalad maos v'hasa'a chavdalad log the whole log 300 centimeter mu'ukab v'chol pudyon chati me'a nimsa 300 blah blah blahs kemach shavos chati pudyon kikar olol pudyon kolol hotzas hatzchina va'afia. So what does all this mean? We go to the cheating. We go to Chabad.org footnote, which says, the no shame in that. He says half a pudyon is equivalent to 8 barley corns of pure silver, approximately 0.4 grams in contemporary measure. So we go to our silver gram price calculator. 0.4 grams is 28 cents, not very much. And then it also says here in his commentary to Mishnah Peah 8:7, the Rambam explains that this is a loaf of bread made from a quarter of a cob of flour. The commentators explain that a loaf this size provides food for 2 meals. The intent is that we provide him with the minimum necessary for his immediate needs. So basically, for our purposes, it just means like the equivalent of two meals. Okay, so nice and simple. Yeah.
Where does the law get those footnotes from? Is that from the English set?
This Chabad.org one is the English set. So Rabbi Eliyahu Tauber. Yeah. Usually they cite their sources, but I guess he didn't cite one here.
Yeah. Apparently, when my dad was growing up in, I think, Canada.
Yeah.
He went to like Hebrew school.
Oh yeah.
That was like one of his teachers.
Oh cool.
He didn't know until like way later. Oh, actually, no, he actually has a signed copy from it.
Nice. That's neat. Yeah. While we're talking about that, my general shita on the Tauber English translation. First of all, I think it's the only full translation of the Mishnah Torah in English that at least is available widely. Chabad.org, I don't know what their system is. I know that for some halachos, they provide like the full thing with all the footnotes. And for some of them, they just provide the translation. And it doesn't seem to be in order because I feel like this is in the middle of Zra'im. So I don't know what their system is. So my general thing is that I'd say like the translations are like, if I had to assign a percentage value, like 90 to 95% good. What I don't like is when they do, they sometimes do an inexact thing. And then I've heard rumor that in a couple places, then they like editorialize for like hashkafic reasons, like to like make things like tame or like more in line with not full-fledged Rambam thing. So just like, I'm only saying that now, even though it's a rumor that you should like, trust but verify. And then the other thing also is that the footnotes are very helpful for like a digest of like, of Nosei Kalim, of like Achronim on the Rambam. Yeah. So, and then also for facts like this. So pretty good. Okay, so then what happens? Oh, Kvar Biarnu Kol Midos. Okay, we are explaining all the midos. Okay, that's elsewhere. Okay. Vimlan, and if he spends the night, Nosnim lo matzah sheyishan alav. You give him a bedding, like I assume nowadays it would be like a bed to sleep on. The keses litin tachas mirashosav, and a pillow to put under his head. The shemen and oil and kitnis and beans. Okay, no clue why like oil and beans. First of all, I don't know if this oil is like for. Yeah, I mean, you would think that he would just say like ner, right? But the fact that he pairs it with beans leads me to believe that some sort of like I don't really know, like
give him indigestion.
I guess so, yeah, yeah. I mean, let's see while we're here. Let's see what Rabbi Tauger says. Oil and beans. Yep, that's what it says. let me just see if any of the Mefarshim say. Ravaz, note, Kesef Mishnah. No. Oh, yeah. So let's look there. We have Toseftas, don't we? Oops. Tosefta and okay. So I'm just going to rely on the fact that if I type in Shemen V'kitnis, that'll either take us directly to something relevant or it'll help us in some other way. Shemen V'kitnis. I feel like this is not going to help. I feel like if we just find it's just going to say oil and beans. But yeah, not that I have anything against oil and beans. I guess it depends on what kind of beans. Yep, here we go. Tosefta at the end of Peh. Now, I believe there is an English translation here, but I don't remember if it's a footnoted one. This page does not exist. Well, I never.
That doesn't sound right.
But I saw it exist. It exists right here. Shemen V'kitnis. Okay, hold on. Let's try that one more time. Nope. All right, let's try it. What did it say? It was Peh 4.8. Let's just try it on the drop-down menu.
To machine spirits.
Peh 4. All right, now it exists. 8. Oh, abundant footnotes, unless these are just Girsa stuffs. All right. In posting la'ani over mimakam mikikar b'pudim arbasa nosnin l'parnas lina shemen v'kitnis. And let's see if we have any perush katzar l'tosefta. No one's explaining our beans. Well, we tried. Oh, Tosefta Kipshuta. Shemen Kitnis. Kol Brisa Be'eshkol. Lotas, blah, blah, blah. Midivir Harash, blah, 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 Kitnis. Okay, here we go. It says, he, the Shemen of Kitnis, him Parnassus Lina. So that's like a nightly fare. I guess this is like the equivalent of like when you are in the middle, the medieval times and you go to an inn and they give you like gruel, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get anything else from here. Okay, fine. That's good enough for us. Did you say something, Yosef, or not?
So I was just trying to understand. So, Parnassus Lina, like a pre-sleep thing people like to do, like brushing your teeth.
No, I think it's food. I think it's like probably like an evening meal or something like that.
Nightcap.
Yeah, I'm gonna forever change my view of a nightcap. I'll take one nightcap. No, I know, but not with beans.
Oh.
Yeah. Usually it's with alcohol. Yeah. But so I don't. I mean, is your question because like you would think that that's what the bread is for, like that's his food? I have no idea. What was that?
Just confused what Parnassus Lina would be like.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. V'im Shabbos, and if he spent Shabbos there, I think Im Shabbos. Nosnim lo mazon shalosh sudos. You have to give him 3 meals, right? Because it's Shabbos. V'shemen v'kinis v'dag v'yarak. Okay, and sorry, no offense.
No. I just found it funny that like the 3 meals that also like the shemen and kidneys again.
Yeah, it's also true, right? Yeah. And fish and vegetables, which is interesting. You don't give them meat. I mean, not that you have to eat meat on Shabbos, but I guess dog and yarak is like already like an additional special thing for Shabbos, maybe.
But also, like, what's the hidden say? What you have to give him these 3 meals, assuming whatever you're eating.
Yeah, unless mazon shalosh sudos is like like bread for 3 meals. I'm not sure. So that's interesting. So if you recognize him, then you give it to him lefi kvodo. That's very interesting. Meaning you recognize him that he's not a ramai. Oh, so that's interesting also. So this is all if the guy could be a ramai. So that's also interesting because I guess you check the guy out if he's a ramai locally, but you don't check him out if he's traveling from Makom to Makom. That's strange. Yeah.
Oh, there's only be how the heck are you gonna check out?
That's also true. Yeah, you're right. You can't check him out. Yeah, that's so it's practical. And I saw. Yeah.
Also, luckily, don't you give him food? Before checking him out.
You mean if he says ra'evani? Yeah, right. Right. But this guy is doesn't say he's ra'evani, right? It just seems he's asking for stuff. Yeah. The Rava says an interesting thing, which I only saw because of the footnote. He says I kind of don't know whether the Rambam holds this. I'm not sure because I feel like the Rambam would say it. He says Vim Shabbos nosni ein Shamba Mishnah. The Ikla Medak, so you can infer from here. Hari Ocha Shlosh Sudos b'Shabbos Uvmotzei Shabbos Ma Yochal Kashiyelech Lamachar Yitin Yelech Rekam. So what is he going to eat on Motzei Shabbos, and you're going to let him go the next day without anything? The Yishlomer Del Olam Ani Yesh Biado Suda Achas. V'nosin lo shalosh sudos uparnasas lina lemotzei Shabbos hari chamesh sudos gimel l'Shabbos v'achas lemotzei Shabbos v'achas shemolicha biyado. You have to give him 5 meals, 3 for Shabbos, and then 1 for him to have, and then 1 for on the way. Yeah, I feel like that's not so clear from the Rambam, but it's interesting. Okay, so that is interesting there. Yeah. So what? Any general insights we can draw out from here from just this this case of ani over the makom other than just the halacha? I mean, one thing I think, yeah.
As on Shabbos, it's automatically assumed he has to stay for the night.
Right, that's also true. Right, that's true. You provide him Shabbos lodgings. Yeah, yeah. Interesting question, by the way, with the like. I mean, I know this is a concern that people have nowadays, which is which I don't see why you wouldn't have that concern. Then is like allowing a total stranger to sleep in your home.
Yeah.
Is that could be like a thing of sakana, so I we clearly we check out the guy to see if we give him tzedakah for if he's local. Is there a halachic thing of like do you have to just provide the guy? I mean, you could argue that back then the sakana of like letting a guy just like not have a place to sleep at night, that his sakana would warrant that you take him in. It's just interesting. I don't know where the Rambam talks about that, if he does at all. Yeah.
So what's making you say that's kind of like, Yankee, after having guests for years, seems perfectly fine.
That's called bad reasoning. I mean, like, there are people who like, who will, I mean, look, I don't know, if I had daughters, I wouldn't want some stranger sleeping in my house, and putting my daughters at risk. I mean, I'm not even talking like a murderer, but like, we had, I mean, when I was, just 1 second here, just pause the recording. Okay, let's just read tomorrow's halacha, just see if there's, get the gears going. Ani she'eno rote likach tzedakah. Okay. This is interesting. Ani who doesn't want to take tzedakah, ma'arimin alav. We deceive him, right? We act with cunning. Arum. V'nosnim lo l'shem matana or l'shem halva'a, and we give it to him as a gift or as a loan, like my mom does when someone doesn't want to accept money. She'll just sneak it into their purse or into their car. V'ashir hamariv es atzmo. Miser, a rich guy who starves himself. The eno tzara, the mamona, and his eye is he's stingy with his money. Shelo yochal mimena v'lo yishta, and he doesn't even like spend it on his own food and drink. But we don't care about him. We don't let him destroy himself. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Let's just read this. I'll look here. Marimin osim ba'orma. We act with cunning. Hatachbula hamoseres nikras orma. Excess. Oh, that's an interesting thing. I never knew he defined takbula. Someone asked me yesterday what a takbula is. What year was that? Was it on a Monday night Mishlei this year? Someone asked what a takbula was? I think so. Wait, that was Monday night last night? Yeah, oh man, this coffee thing is ruining me. Because I was someone asked about methodology about getting chidushim from Sukkim, and I was reading the 4 mission statements of Mishlei, and Navin takbula sikne. So he says a takbula hamoseres nikras arma. So So an extra strategic thing is called orma. It's called cunning. The she'eno moseres mirma. What? Wait a minute. I don't know if moseres means extra. And if it's not extra, then it's mirma. It's deception. Yeah.
Mutter.
Oh, muteris. You're right. Thank you. A permissible. There you go, man. Blame it on the coffee. Mutter takbula is called orma, and one that's not mutter is called mirma. So we see from there that it's not different in terms of the nature of what you're doing. It's just in terms of the legal status of it. Okay, l'shem matana, l'shem halva'a. So matzim la'ani matana v'im eno maskim l'kabel matana, matzim lo l'kabel b'halva'a, l'bivat shiaskim l'kabel. So we matzim la'ani matana. Matim here, I think we present him with a gift. V'im eno maskim l'kabel matana. If he does want a gift, matim lo l'kabel b'halva. Then we let him do it. We present him as a loan. B'vad shiaskim l'kabel, as long as he agrees to it. Yeah.
Are you allowed to force him to pay that loan?
It's a good question. You mean you are allowed to force him? Meaning, like, because it seems like the Rambam is saying you don't actually treat it as a loan, right? I get that's what I'm getting, because he says ma'arimin also by giving it to l'shem matana or hava. Yeah. Right. So you mean are you allowed to force him to pay it? That's a good question. It sounds like not, right? It sounds like it's just a ruse.
Like if the guy comes to you and he's like, "Oh, I want to pay you back," but he's still like, like would that like uproot like your?
I think you'd be allowed to do that. I would think so, because in fact, just to use a practical case, I'm going to pause this. Let's finish this up. V'eno tzar b'mamono kamtzan gam klape atzmo. He's a fist clencher, even for himself. Imach kikimbo in samim lev elav in nostim lo tzedakah kani. Yeah, we don't treat him like money. So this is an interesting thing, right? The guy who was rich and had the servant running in front of him, and then like becomes poor, his psychological needs. We do cater to in terms of de machsoro, but the guy who has a chuli hanefesh of like he can't bring himself to spend money to even for his own food, then we let him rot. Yeah.
Well, in that case, he isn't lacking. He's just stupid.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. That is a fine distinction. He's not de machsoro, because there's no machsor except in the das. The das, not the das. Okay. All right. Let's stop here for today. Okay.
Now I make a stew.